Welcome back, guys. We are here for our Week 16 news episode of our Madden 23 Owner Series. Let's not waste any time. Let's get straight into talking about what happened last game out. So, obviously, if you guys watched, if you didn't, if you're looking at the scoreboard right now, obviously, if you didn't watch, why are you here right now? Just go watch the game. The link's right, I think right there from where it is. I don't know. Anyways, go watch the game. Don't waste your time here. Go watch the game. But we dominated the Tennessee Titans, and honestly, the numbers tell a different story just to the scoreboard, and let's talk about it. So, obviously, total score was 44-7. We put up 14 points to their 7 in the first. Then we put up 21 straight unanswered in the second quarter. We go into the second half, and we're taking it easy. We're on cruise control. We don't put up any points in the third, neither do they, and they don't put up any points for the rest of the game when we put up 9 in the last quarter. So, the story of the game, they dominated us offensive yards. We outdid them in rushing yards, but their passing yards were the real story. And the reason for that was because they were down for so long in this game, they had to be passing. And I'm not going to lie, we weren't shutting down the pass too well because they were attacking our linebackers in coverage due to us playing CJ Gardner-Johnson as a corner rather than a stub linebacker, which opened up the middle for them to attack the coverage, as that's our weakest group. And they definitely did. But we were making plays at just the right times. Making turnovers, as we've been known to do all year. Our defense was really stepping up, and our offense did a solid job at just putting up the points when they needed to. But the punt returns are also a major part in this. Kes Watkins is not only a monster in the offense, he is a monster on special teams. 2 punt return touchdowns on the day-to-day. What a monster. Not only those 2 punt return touchdowns, he also had a few really good returns besides that. We love to see that, though. So with those return yards on the punt return, our total yards outdid theirs by nearly 130. So that's huge. Like I said, we had 0 turnovers. They had 6. That is huge. I know at least 3 of them, 4 of them fumbles. I don't know. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it was crazy. We converted on 3rd down and 4th down more than they did. And this is just a recipe for success when you're able to play like this. Everything was pretty even, but we just made turnovers, made plays, and we worked on special teams. I would not be surprised if their special teams coach is fired going into the next game. Player-specific stats, Davis Mills, 131 passing yards through the air, 1 touchdown through the air, but we'll talk about it in a second. That was not the end of his day, but the biggest thing we are happy about, another week of 0 interceptions. I'm not going to lie, there were a few questionable balls that probably should have been picked, but we avoided the interceptions, avoided him giving turnovers, and we won the game big again. Ryan Tannehill for them, 294 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. I want to say both those interceptions were probably garbage time anyways, and most of the yards came up in garbage time anyways, so I won't really give him too much credit. That first drive was definitely successful for them, which ended off with them throwing a passing touchdown, so I will take that. But rushing, let's take a moment to talk about this. Hassan Haskins did a very good job stepping in for Derrick Henry as he was out with the injury, if we all remember. He went 16 for 60, 3.8 carry. Then Dameon Pierce matched him 16 for 51 with 3.2 a carry. A little bit of a quiet day for him, honestly. But it was good nonetheless. Dare Ogunbowale, he got 2 carries in garbage time, and he made the best of it. He put down Kevin Byard twice. And that's a monster statement. 2 rushes, 38 yards, 19 a carry. We really like that guy for the future. Ryan Tannehill had 1 huge scramble for 20 yards. It was kind of crazy. But he did fumble on a sack. But the story that I want to talk about, Davis Mills had 2 end zone scrambles for the touchdowns. 2 rushing touchdowns on the day. So that's 3 total. 1 through the air, 2 in the passing game, and no turnovers. I will take that. Receiving on the game, Treylon Burks had a big game receiving, 6 for 94, 15.7 a catch, and a touchdown. He had the only touchdown for them on the day, but he fumbled twice. We had a linebacker come up, help him when he was getting piled on, and they punched that ball out twice. He has to have better ball security, and that does not matter how good of a receiver you are. If you can't hold on to the ball, you're not going to get the ball. So, unfortunate for them, but we made the plays. Byron Pringle for them, 5 for 63, 12.6, very solid. Robert Woods also 3 for 57, 19 a catch. It was honestly just the 3 of them making plays for a lot of the day. Nobody else really got involved. Deshaun Jackson, he had our 1 big catch early in the first quarter for 51 yards, a monster bomb. I can't believe he held on to that ball, but that was huge. Austin Hooper also contributed for them, 4 for 49. And yeah, it was a pretty solid day. Like I said, Kes Watkins added on to his total, 3 for 47. We'll go over his punt return stats in a little bit. If we go over to the blocking, their O-line just could not hold up. Ben Jones let up a sack, Jalen Rodons let up a sack, and Denzel Good did as well. And now the phone's ringing. Give me a second. Anyways, now that we are back, it is time to talk about the defense. So, leading us for tackles on the day was Jerome Baker with 13. Obviously, CJ Gardner-Johnson's not playing in the middle with you anymore. You're going to get more attempts to make plays on the ball, and he did just that. Racking up 13 in total. He's backed up by Christian Kirksey and Zach Cunningham for them. Also, Benardrick McKinney did pretty well for them in the middle of the field as well. Tackles for loss. Both teams were really eating up the backfield, which is why Dameon Pierce didn't have that many rushing yards. But we start off, we have a string of people with 2. It's Jerome Baker, Christian Kirksey, Zach Cunningham, Justin Zimmer, and Jonathan Grenard. Also a ton of people with 1. So great pressure from both defenses on that department. But sacks, we ate them up. Jerome Baker had 1, Christian Kirksey had 1, Zach Cunningham had 1. We ate that pretty bad. But Jonathan Grenard also had 1. Eric Murray had 1. Malik Collins had 1. It was a sack party. And then Desmond King, 2 interceptions. I don't care what point of the game it is. If you're able to make plays, especially that one where he was in the second unit, he's basically the captain of that defense at that point in the game, and he came up with the pick when we needed it. Huge play from him. Interception yards, let's talk about that. That one went for a pick 6, 32-yard return. We love to see that. I'm sorry, it was 26 return because he had 2 of them. If we go over to forced fumbles, Desmond King also forced a fumble. I'm sorry. Eric Murray forced 1, Christian Harris forced 1, and Kevin Pierre-Louis. Like I said, these 2 came back to the ball after a receiver had a big catch, punched that ball out. Huge plays. Eric Murray got lucky with the forced fumble. Tannehill just dropped it, and Desmond King forced a fumble on a big hit. Fumble recoveries. Jerome Baker recovered 1, Jonathan Grenard had 1, Kamu Grugier-Hill had 1, and Chris Harris Jr. You love to see all departments making plays. Jerome Baker also had a huge return on his fumble, 36 yards. That is monster. And like I said, defensive touchdowns, Desmond King, another week, another pick 6 for this defense. We love to see it. And now that we've talked about our game, let's take a look around the league at other games that happened this week. Obviously, we noticed it during the halftime, but we saw Jacksonville take another loss against, honestly, this was a really bad team. I'm really not understanding how they lost another one on Thursday Night Football, but the Jets stepped up 7-14 against them. I would go into more detail, but I don't even think it's worth our time at this point in the year. Coming off our dominant display against Kansas City a week ago, they did scrape back, able to pick up a big win against Seattle on Saturday. This was a split week. I believe this is Christmas week, which is why it's split like this. A lot of Saturday games, a lot of Sunday games, but very good display by us, and very good display by them to come back. And then the last game I want to talk about was Monday Night Football, and the Indianapolis Colts came back, got another victory. These guys do not let up. It looks like a very just consistent game from them, piled on the points at the end. Player stats, Matt Ryan, 353 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. They held Justin Herbert to only 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Rushing, Jonathan Taylor contained pretty well, but the passing game took over, 17 for 82, 4.8 a catch, and Austin Eckler had 38 yards, 2.5 a carry, and a touchdown. It was not enough, however. Ashton Doolin for them stepped up, 132 yards on 7 catches, a touchdown as well. Austin Eckler also had a touchdown receiving, but Mo Alley Cox and Paris Campbell had the other touchdown catches for the Colts. So, we've seen this team before. Obviously, we were able to focus on the pass game the first time we saw them in the year, but now that they have the run game back with Jonathan Taylor back in, it's going to be a rough one. We're going to have to worry about it. Now, while we're here, I would like to take a look at their matchup for this upcoming week, which is, once I find it, this is where I pass it, the Giants. So if I'm giving my 2 cents on this, the Giants have a great record. NFC East been hyper competitive. I think the Colts are the better team. I genuinely do. So we're going into our game this week. We have to assume that Colts are going to win. We can't go up to this game assuming they're not going to. Take it easy, whatever. So what that means is, if we both win going into the next week, we have 1 victory over them. But if they win, it doesn't matter, because they will have the better record our season finale. They will have the winning record for the division, and they will have the wild card bye. We really want that. That'd be very, very nice. So we're going to have to go in this game. We're going to have to dominate, and we're going to have to get out without getting too many serious injuries, hopefully. If we take a look at the playoff picture, a lot of things are staying the same. A lot of the teams for the AFC are in the same spot. A lot of the teams for the NFC are in the same spot. However, we are seeing the shakeup of the hyper-competitive NFC East. Dallas has made their way back in. The Giants are in there, but I believe the Eagles are not in there. That's the lone team out, and honestly, I did not see that happening at the beginning of this year. But the Saints are still holding that first-round bye. And we're going to look over the weekly rewards. Like I said last time, we're not going to get hyper-excited. We're not going to skip the way. We're going to go through each one. For Week 16, NFC Offensive Player of the Year was Dak Prescott, 26 for 28, 280 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 33 yards on the ground is really solid. AFC Offensive Player of the Year, 16 for 19 was Lamar Jackson, 186 passing yards with 4 passing touchdowns. He also had 18 carries for 96 rushing yards. Very dominant day, honestly. The NFC Defensive Player of the Year was Kaiser White, the right outside linebacker for the Philadelphia Eagles. He had 15 tackles and a forced fumble, but our man, Desmond King II, had 3 tackles, 2 interceptions, a forced fumble, and a touchdown on one of those interceptions. Got him AFC Defensive Player of the Week. That is 2 weeks in a row we've had a defensive guy as the Player of the Week, and we love to see that. Looking over our re-signing duties, our renegotiations, the only person coming up to the table this week is Scott Questenberry. 27 years old. He's a backup center. His window is really closing. He's not too great. I say let's not even waste the money. Let's save the cap. We're going to withdraw the offer. Don't even worry about it. Give him a better chance to test free agency. He might get better money out there. But going into next week, that is when all of the free agents we signed at the beginning of the year, when all of their contracts come up, and we have some very, very interesting decisions to make. That will involve Chris Harris Jr., Deshaun Jackson, Kyle Rudolph, and Jeff Driscoll. And if we're taking a preview to it as well, honestly, I'm not worried about Jeff Driscoll. I think where he's going to go. I'm going to be honest with you guys right now. But Kyle Rudolph has been a great addition to this team, done a great job mentoring Brevin Jordan. I love the big plays he's made from here and there. Deshaun Jackson obviously has been a weapon for us. We don't know how that speed's going to hold up over the offseason. That's going to be interesting to think about. And Chris Harris Jr. has been a lockdown number 1 for us, helped mentor Derek Stingley Jr., but he is getting older. Derek Stingley Jr. is getting better. Somebody's going to have to take over, and we don't know if we want to pay him that money that he's asking for, especially on a declining rate. So that'll be interesting to see what we decide to do in next week, but let's not worry about that now. So now that all of that is out of the way, let's not waste any time. Week 17, we are getting ready. We are returning home for the last time in this stadium before we relocate the team to Austin. We're going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Obviously, this is the team we tied with earlier on this year. We've had a much better season than they have. We're looking to walk out of here with a very easy win. But like I said, we tied against them last game, so nothing is promised. We need a big win to keep our momentum going. How are we going to do it? Let's find out in our very last game in NRG Stadium. Looking over the injuries, we have no injuries heading into this game, so we love to see that. If we head over to the Jaguars, they have a few, nothing too crazy, but we do have to look out for them. They have a backup right tackle who's out with a dislocated shoulder. Jordan Smith is just on the injured reserve. And Jamal Agnew, one of their receivers, has turf toe, so he's going to be out this week. So that could be pretty big for us. But let's see who we do have to deal with this upcoming week. Same thing as last week. We already played this team just like the Titans, so we're going to run through this as fast as possible. But we have Trevor Lawrence at QB. At running back, they have James Robinson backed up by Travis Etienne Jr. Fullback, Nick Ralston. Receivers, Christian Kirk, Marvin Jones Jr., Luke Chenault. And Zay Jones is probably going to get the opportunity with that other guy out. Tight ends, Evan Engram is leading the way. They have on the line Cam Robinson, Ben Barch. Center is Austin Blythe. Right guard is Brandon Scherf, pretty solid. And then Jawan Taylor. For the defense, left end is DeJuan Smoot. Off the right side is Carl Nassib. The D tackle is locked down by Foloronzo Fatukasi and Devon Hamilton. Tavon Walker as the left linebacker position. Foyesada Luakan has the middle locked down along with Josh Allen off the right. Shaquille Griffin leads the corners out there with Darius Williams and Tyson Campbell in tow as well. Free safety is Rayshawn Jenkins. Strong safety is Andrew Wingard. Kicker is Mason Crosby, and the punter is Logan Cook. So knowing all that, now is the time. Let's figure out how we're going to game plan against this team. So honestly, this team hasn't been great offensively, as you can see by their record. So their passing game hasn't been great, but I think with the speed they have as receivers, we have to be careful of them going deep. We're going to defend the deep pass. We will lose some corners in the run game because of that, but I think it's acceptable for the situation. Maybe turn over to the offense. Obviously, we know this defense. We know they have some pretty solid linebackers. We're not sure we want to test them in the air. They don't blitz very often. I say we just go run inside and let's pound the ball with Dameon Pierce. Go back to how do we know to succeed, and see how it leads us out here today. And now looking over the goals our coaching staff has submitted, head coach Lovie Smith has said, let's win by 17 plus points. We've coming off 3 dominant victories at this point. Let's just go for it. Let's blow them out. Let's get out of here quickly with a successful win. Our offensive coordinator, 250 plus offensive yards. We're not asking a ton out of you guys. That's really not the focus of this team, but we'd like success, so 250 is nothing too much to ask for. Our defensive coordinator has said, let's allow 20 points or less. A little bit less aggressive than we did last week, but the understanding is that if we have a sizable lead, we want to get our starters out of there early, retain them for health, especially for the season finale, which could have huge implications on our playoff hopes. And I've said, let's allow 2 or less passing touchdowns. Honestly, the passing game hasn't been great. We talked about it earlier. Let's use this opportunity to make sure the secondary is set and ready to go for our playoff hopes, and let's get this win. Following practice this week, I am happy to say we have no injuries. Derek Stingley is back healthy, and we saw a lot of improvement from this team. Let's talk about it. First, we want to talk about CJ Gardner-Johnson, who we saw a ton of improvement from. He even played a new position last game out, and he did pretty successful at it, filling in great for Derek Stingley Jr. We saw improvements in his awareness, his man coverage, his play recognition, his press, his pursuit, his zone coverage. He is a monster. He's playing out of his mind right now, and he's going to lead us into the future for this team. We also saw our rookie safety, Jalen Petre, also improve as well. We saw him improve in his awareness, pursuit, his tackling, and his zone coverage. He's continuing to get better as a safety for this team. Hopefully he develops nicely. He can be a nice part of our future. And while we have this opportunity, we also saw Rasheem Green improve as well. Those were our key notable improvements for this week. So now that all of that is said and done, we are ready to go. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications down below. And I can't wait to see you guys next game out as we take on the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Not only for the last time for this season, the last time ever. We are leaving NRG Stadium after this. Like I said, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, remember to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notifications down below, and go check out the game. I will see you all then.